Welcome back. We are here in Hemet today. We were in Westwood Cemetery yesterday up in UCLA. We saw Marilyn Monroe, Hugh Hefner, tons of other celebrities. I decided to come down here with a little help from my good friend Danny Punk's Life. Told me about this grave, and I'm really excited to be able to shoot this grave and to come out here and show you guys as well. I mean, this kind of puts a end to a chapter of questions of who was Marilyn Monroe's dad. Up to a couple years ago, we just found out. They did a test. They ran some of Marilyn's actual hair. They did a cotton swab of a DNA test from a family member, a cousin, and they found out that Stan Gifford was actually her dad, and he is buried in Hemet, California. Stan worked for Consolidated Pictures. He was born in 1898, I believe, to 1965, where he passed away out here in Hemet, back when there was really nothing. I mean, it's still kind of nothing. So Stan Gifford was working for Consolidated Pictures, and somebody working underneath him was actually Marilyn's mom, working as a film. She would cut the film. I forgot the exact term for that, but she was working for RKO Studios, I believe, at that time, RKO Pictures, and that's where he met her. He was having an affair with her mom, as he was with many other women. You know, he would boast about at that time. So ended up getting Marilyn's mom pregnant on Christmas Eve, I believe it was 1925. Marilyn Monroe's mother told him, Stan, that she was pregnant. Stan gave her some money and said, I don't want anything to do with you, and that's it, I don't care, and moved on. And really had no communication with Marilyn over the whole span of his lifetime and her lifetime, from her humble beginnings to just her stardom and everything else. So we're gonna go actually into Palm Springs, see some of the spots that Marilyn enjoyed in life, her summer home out in Palm Springs. We'll see some of the people that she ran into, the JFK, where she met him, over at Peter Lawford's, and a couple other spots like that. So let's go pay our respects to Stan. So if you ever make the trek yourself out here to the Hemet Valley Cemetery, the main road will actually take you in over that way. You have to come across to this road. You have to go down and like loop around. Just, there's no palm trees on that side. Pay attention to the palm trees if you ever want to stop by Stan's. So here is, I believe his name was Charles Stanley Gifford. He liked to go by the name Stan Gifford. So after Stan left Hollywood and came out to Hemet, he ended up buying a dairy, and he bought the dairy for, I believe it was $8,500. It was called Red Rock Dairy. I was trying to find some information on Red Rock Dairy out here. I couldn't find a location for it, but it was $8,500, a 7-bedroom ranch house with, I believe, 50 cattle, which eventually turned out to be a pretty prosperous dairy for him. And it was said that Marilyn, take a look on this beautiful day around here, this cemetery, Marilyn, on her way out to Palm Springs, would often stop by the dairy, and it was a drive-through dairy too, so you could pick up milk, and she would stop by with a hope to see either a glimpse of her dad or maybe even talk to him. I mean, they always had like missed phone calls and things like that. But Charlie Stanley Gifford had 2 other daughters, so she has 2 half-sisters that one of her sisters, I believe, wrote a book, and said that she spoke with Marilyn too before Marilyn passed, but never really met her or had anything to do with her. She did say, however, though, when Marilyn was in New York on a psych hold, that Stan went and visited her and brought her a card. I'll show you that card right here. I think this is going to conclude the part of Stan Gifford. He wasn't really, besides being Marilyn's dad, or Norma Jean Mortensen, as she was known before Norma Jean, and before she was discovered, in Palm Springs by the pool is where she was discovered. I think that's going to do it from here. So we did see Stan Giffords. If you ever want to come and pay your respects to Marilyn's dad, he's in the Hemet Valley Cemetery. But I think on a lighter note, we're going to go out to Palm Springs, see some of the places that Marilyn enjoyed, and some of the things that are left behind to honor Marilyn. So let's go. One other thing, if you ever do want to visit, I can't really make out the street down there, but you'll notice this place, Four Seasons Buffet, the Farmer's 62 Corner. If you follow the road around and you see those directly behind you, Stan's resting place is right over here. So, well, we've made it. 1326 North Rose Street in Palm Springs. This was Marilyn Monroe's Palm Springs getaway house. Now, Marilyn only owned one house, and that was up in LA. And this was said to be the house that she would stay at when she would frequent Palm Springs on her way out, as we talked about earlier, at the grave of her father, go through the Hemet. Obviously the 10 was a lot smaller there. It probably took a lot longer to get here from LA, but yeah, this is where Marilyn Monroe would stay. Right around the corner, right down the street actually, is Dean Martin's house. We'll go by Peter Lawford's house, where she supposedly met JFK for the first time. The supposed affair happened over at Bing Crosby's house. That's in a gated community. Elvis and Marilyn did have a little meetup once upon a time in Hollywood. But yeah, one of Marilyn's favorite things, well, her perfume, if you didn't know, was Chanel No. 5. One of Marilyn's favorite meals, steak. Steak with raw carrots, a handful of raw carrots, or she would just have raw carrots any time of the day, it was said. Her dessert were pears and a brandy glaze was her favorite dessert as well, if you didn't know that. Just a few little fun facts about Marilyn. But I'm going to include a clip too, because I know this was an Airbnb rental as well, and it kind of shows. Hopefully I can transfer it to video so I can save a clip in here.
Come check out Marilyn Monroe's house in Palm Springs with me. I stayed here for my cousin's bachelorette party, and this house is absolutely stunning. Marilyn was the first resident to have lived here. The house was built in 1961, and obviously there's some remodeling that's been done, but a lot of the pieces in the house still remain the same, like this original fireplace and the bar. And then they restored the hardware within the kitchen. We have the master bedroom here. And then my favorite, the master bathroom. All the bathrooms are original as well. This is super cool. There was a slider to go into the backyard.
So they changed the layout of this a little bit, whoever the current owners are, I can tell, but that is the original mailbox, still painted pink. And yes, if you ever did wonder if Marilyn bathed in champagne, of the one famous photo of hers, 350 bottles of cooked champagne she did take a bath in at one time. So there's cameras right here. I don't want to bother too much, but just try to give you a little bit of a overlook. I believe it still is a rental, so you might want to check. 1326 North Rose Street. Marilyn would have came right out here to get her mail. But the weird thing about the movie colony, if you've never been to Palm Springs or know the area, this little neighborhood, it's a pretty cool car. This little neighborhood is really walking distance to everyone's house, so everyone could just walk over to different parties. So we made it just right around the corner, and we're at 1295 North Viamonte. This resident, very, very famous house of Peter Lawford. This is supposedly the house where Marilyn Monroe met President Kennedy back in March of 1962. Now, supposedly the affair didn't happen here, but this is the house that she met him in, which is directly around the corner from where we just were. Just pop our heads over and take a look. just a garage. I'm gonna go look for that sign because I don't know why that wouldn't be here. But this is such a nice neighborhood in this day in December. Weather is perfect in the 70s. Lots of people from where it's very cold coming out here wearing shorts. If you have any questions about the Palm Springs area, always send me a message. So it looks like the sign that was here that showed that it was Peter Lawford's house has been removed, which is a shame. You can just imagine them all up here, but we're gonna head into Palm Springs and see how Palm Springs actually remembers Marilyn. And while we do that, some clips of Marilyn.
Didn't you just love the picture? I did, but I just felt so sorry for the creature at the end.
Sorry for the creature? Why'd you want him to marry the girl?
He was kind of scary looking, but he wasn't really all bad. I think he just craved a little affection. You know, a sense of being loved and needed and wanted.
That's a very interesting point of view.
Oh, do you feel the breeze from the subway? Isn't it delicious?
There's this little art piece, but yeah, everybody knows this area. So when you come down to Palm Springs off the main drag, cool. You come down, if you look up the Kimpton, this next spot will be very, very easy to find. It's right outside the Palm Springs Art Gallery. And also, if you look up, there's one of the remaining babies that was in the pit of the art exhibit next door for a long time. They left one behind. Well, that's gonna do it. We've done 2 days of Marilyn. We did Westwood Cemetery, and we also did Marilyn's father today out in Hemet. We went by his gravesite. Directly behind me is the Marilyn statue that's been removed back here. So if you want to come down here for a picture, this is the place to go. Popular tourist spot. Please consider subscribing, and see you next time. So as I mentioned, those babies that were on the side of the Kimpton Rowan, they used to be down there. There used to be like 6 of them that would climb on the wall and everything else here all over the place. And then up there's the O'Donnell house next to the Palm Springs Art Museum. Here it gives a little overview. But there she is, back in sunny Palm Springs, California, Marilyn. Very cool. Thanks for the memories. Thanks for watching. Rest in peace, Marilyn.
Always carry it with me, afraid to leave it in the stateroom.
And you're not afraid to show it to Lorelei?
Now stop. Lady Beekman won't know you're teasing. Look. Did you ever, anywhere, anything like it?
All blue stones. Cozy little job, what?
May I just hold it for a minute?
Of course.
How do you put it around your neck?
You don't, Lovey. It goes on your head.
You must think I was born yesterday.
Well, sometimes there's just no other possible explanation.
No, my dear, she's quite right. Like so. It's a tiara.
You do wear it on your head. I just love finding new places to wear diamonds.